are so proud of the accomplishment that they have made. We started out the program, as I said, in September with 18 boys, and only 15 have endured and stayed the course. So I think that in and of itself deserves some applause.
This is a pilot for the school that we're going to begin in 2020 called Life Male Science, Technology, Engineering, Arts, and Math Academy. It's going to be centered around STEM, and we added the arts so that our young men can be prepared for jobs in the 21st century. What I often say is that Pittsburgh has done a great job of reinventing itself. 30 years ago, a young man can graduate from high school, go and work in the steel mill for 40 years and make a good living. That is not the case today. So Pittsburgh has done a good job in transforming itself into a city that's known for technology, eds, and meds. But African American males in particular are lagging behind in the STEM pipeline, not only in Pittsburgh, but all over the world. So we want to be able to help these young men to have an opportunity to be able to compete globally in the 21st century. So this school is going to be something that's going to change Pittsburgh. It's going to change the trajectory of generations to come. So these young men are serving as our pilot. They are all going to be too old once the school starts, but they're going to be the foundation setters for what we are trying to do to build upon the 21st century job market for these young men. These young men are bright, they are brilliant, they are articulate, and we are excited about them participating in this program, and we are looking forward to following their academic and life and career progress along the way.
I just want to say that I'm so thankful for this program. From every Saturday that the young boys got together, my son in particular, and I can tell from speaking with everyone when they did their presentations, but he really learned the importance of collaborative work. The program helped to stimulate creativity, problem solving, analytical skills, and just in hearing what they said this morning, I can tell that the main thing that they probably have taken away from this is that it has stirred up something in them that they didn't realize was there, but just given the opportunity, it has helped that to come to life. And then to see that oftentimes as we progress, it is trial and error, and it's really sticking to what you've determined to do. So I'm so thankful for the opportunity that LifeSTEAM has provided.
Good morning, scholars and teachers and volunteers. I just want to take this moment to really say that LifeSTEAM Saturdays has really been a learning and growing experience for my son. He's been exposed to technology and printers that he hasn't otherwise been exposed to on a daily basis through school. But outside of that, he's really had the opportunity to meet great students and great friends in the area, and we are thankful for the opportunity from Dr. Canady and the Fab Lab and all the parents who have dedicated their time and have brought their children here every Saturday. So thank you all, and we've had a great time. We're sad that it's over.
Labs and the infusion of technology and knowledge and the ability to be precise and to have an expanded understanding of how things work and how things grow. What it does is that it increases and helps a student to use their imagination, okay, to develop some skills, and their understanding is beyond what you generally see among students in the public school system. I'm a public school system person, and I know the realities of it, but this individualized approach to allowing students to work in a lab format and to have facilitators who can give individualized attention to each student based upon their need. I understood how precise it had to be, because little boxes, if one thing was a centimeter off, then it can't be produced. and you have to go back and find the difficulties in it. And these young men showed their willingness to do that.
Good morning. Again, my name is Ben, and if you're thinking right now, well, what exactly is a Fab Lab? What have these men been coming to every single Saturday? A Fab Lab is a makerspace. A makerspace is just where you make stuff. So a kitchen can be a makerspace, a workshop can be a makerspace. But how this makerspace is different is we are telling the machines what to make by using computers. It's a digital makerspace or fabrication laboratory. Fab Lab is a type of makerspace, which is a network. So whenever I started this job, whenever they said, oh, you're gonna be part of the Fab Lab and this is a really cool thing, I said, oh cool, this must be some like little tiny thing part of the Carnegie Science Center. So only when I started to be here that I realized that the Fab Lab is actually an international network of all of these makerspaces. I've actually sat here and talked with people from Madagascar and Nigeria and all these different countries, and they Skype in and they go, hey, so how do you do this? And I'm like, oh, well, this is what you do. And so now all of these men over here are part of that international network. They can tap into that and say, hey, like I'm part of this Fab Lab, like how do I do this and how do I get into that? And we really want to make sure that it's as hands-on as possible and we're all helping one another as a global community. Here in this makerspace, makerspaces are a little bit different, but some of the tools that we have, you may have heard of 3D printing before. 3D printing is really cool. It's also rather slow. So 3D printing is usually for more finalized prototypes, but we also have over there our main workhorse, the laser cutter. And so the laser cutter can cut anything from wood to foam core to cardboard to chocolate to tons of different things. And so that is mainly what the men over here used throughout these 9 months. But how this worked is it started off and I would say, all right, here's a little project you can do and then do that. Here's another little project you can do and you can do that. And they use the programs on here. Highly recommend downloading the programs that we use. They're totally free. Inkscape is one. It's Adobe Illustrator, but it, again, is totally free. But by the end of it, I was thinking, you know what, they need something bigger to grasp onto. They need a capstone project. And so what I said to them was, here are your guidelines. Your capstone project has to use at least one of the machines in the room. So it could either use the laser cutter, the 3D printer, or what I failed to mention is the vinyl cutter, so it has big stickers. So you have to use at least one of the machines in the room, and your project has to help at least one other person. And they would say, well, what about this? I said, well, does it fit those two things? They said, yeah. I'm like, all right, cool, go do it. So instead of being me standing up there, it transitioned towards the end of their time here into they would just come in and they would just start making. This morning, I had about 5 of them come up to me and say, all right, so during this part of the program, can I actually be working on this? This is how motivated they are. They want to keep working. They want to keep up that iterative process. So instead of presentations being, the boys coming up here and talking, we thought instead to show you what a Fab Lab looks like. And so what is going to happen is they're going to be stationed around the room, and this is going to be a networking event. So I invite you to walk up to each one of them, ask them different questions. Ask them what was your favorite part? What are you currently working on? How does this work? And they can walk you through that process as well.
So what I have here is a terrarium. It's basically an ant farm. So these are used by enthusiasts who like to breed ants. So I guess I should tell you about how the ant cycle works, right? So at first there's the queen elate, right? The queen elate needs to be mated from male elate. Then she eventually loses her wings and then has to find somewhere to breed. To lay her eggs. So then she hatches female workers because all female workers are female. And then it's continuous. Eventually, when there's enough water or enough food and habitat, she'll start making new female and male lates that travel to other colonies. So, ant enthusiasts, we like to capture that experience. We like to see that close up. This specifically is for a species called Tetramorium. It's more like sidewalk ants. The ants that you just see, those little tiny ants that you see crawling around all the time, that's for Tetramorium.
So this is a toy box kind of for my my little brother because you know how when you go to a fast food restaurant and they give you toys, and so my little brother usually like leaves them in the car, and I didn't want to like pick up after him, so I made him a little toy box so he can keep his toys in until he gets home to put in his toy box. It was kind of hard because we had to like build it layer by layer in Tinkercad. And then, so like as a prototype, then we had to get a chip and put it into the 3D printer. And this took about 20 hours to make. I use this. So these are like your basic shapes for you to make it. So I used 4 blocks, and then I went to text and numbers, and then I just clicked on it and put it on his name.
So I tried to make a paper sorter where you could hold like certain important documents or letters or bills, something that you won't want to keep track of. I tried to make one for my mom because she's leaving papers everywhere. I go to the kitchen table, there's like 3 different papers. There's 3 papers laying around who I'm trying to eat. So I tried to make a paper sorter where you could hold your papers. When I was creating my paper sorter on Inkscape, which is a computer software where you can make different objects from a virtual computer. You can add squares, circles, stars, whatever you want, really. So I made a paper sorter using it, but I ran into a lot of difficulties making it. For example, one day I spent 20 minutes trying to get my computer back online, and my final project, I made my overall canvas too small, so my project didn't come out of scale, so no papers are really fit in it. I didn't have time to remake it, but I've learned from my mistakes. The project was supposed to be like 8.5 inches by 12 inches or something like that. I learned from my mistakes, and if I have an opportunity to make one again, I'll try to make it better.
Everything that's not black, the individual spider itself is going to get cut out. So basically, we're going to get a spider that has stuff etched on it, but you're actually still going to get a spider on its own with those type of legs, with the body and everything that's there.
This is the 3D printer?
No, this is laser cutter.
Laser cutter.
As you see, it's forming the top leg right there. So any black is going up and down and side to side. So it's going up and down to see how much black there is and which black is there. And then it's going side to side to etch everything in so it can get enough space and enough distance so that it gets every single line right. So my project is a 5x7. So we'll stop at 5. Wait, hold on. Okay, so 7's right there and 5's right there, so that's how big the spider's gonna be, as you see on the screen.
Hold up in front of yourself. Right about there, yeah. Okay. Now what did that? What is this printer? The laser printer did that.
Yeah. I'm about to make initials for my grandfather. I'm using Inkscape.
As I went through this, the hardest part was just making it deep enough so that you could put like things inside of it, but also not making it too deep where the things would fall out the front or go all the way through the bottom.
But how could you tell? Like, how were you able to test it to make sure that it wasn't deep enough or wasn't too deep?
Okay, I would pretty much mainly just look at it from this view. And so if you see the box, so like you see how I can move it around the inside? Mm-hmm. If you ever saw it like come out this far or up here, like down there, then you would know. Like that, it was out of place.
What is this program that you're using now to show all this sign?
This is Tinkercad.
You're working on this? You're printing this right now. What is it?
It's a Steelers logo.
A Steelers logo. Okay. Cool. Thank you.
A keychain.
I made a 3D printed pencil holder. Using this pencil holder, I had to download an image offline, and I had to make the pencil holder wider, and I had to make it the height smaller. So what I did was I downloaded onto here using Tinkercad, and I made it smaller. And using the 3D printer, it took 3 hours to make, but because it prints layer by layer like a fishing line, but it's a plastic filament. And this holds, it was worth it because it holds markers, pens, and pencils.
This is a coaster. So many people complain about rings around their tables and how most of their families aren't really prepared enough. So you can design it. I have my favorite basketball team on there, and a demonstration is this water bottle. Most water bottles create a ring around your table or a counter or whatever. So whenever you put it on here, it prevents rings, but it still make it dirty at times, but it's washable. You can color it, and when you're done with that, I also made a coaster box, I should say. So when you put it in here, you won't have to worry about the hassle of thinking you forgot it, because you could put your name or your address or whatever. So if you lose it, someone can just obtain it.
Now, what did you use to make that?
I used the 3D printer to make the coaster, and I used the vinyl wood cutter to create the box.
I made a toad for my little cousin because he likes Mario, and I'm gonna print this right here, so it's gonna be a different color, and then I'm going to paint it to look like this real quick. So it's gonna look like that once I'm done painting it, right there.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
This is a controller holder. So what you do is to organize your game station to make it more, just more organized so your controllers aren't everywhere. What you do is you can put your controllers around the pulls for more grip, and so that your station is well organized. And so what I did was I tried to print it out, but mine was too big for the printer. So it did not print out. So I'm gonna keep trying. And yeah, so that's the controller holder.
My first scholar is Ian Alexander, and he is a 6th grader at East Catholic School. We're going to read the certificate. A certificate of achievement, May 19, 2018, has Ian Alexander has shown to be a life scholar through the use of laser cutter, vinyl cutter, 3D printer, and computer-aided design in the Fab Lab. And it's by Dr. and Reverend Canady, the founders of Life Male STEAM Academy, and Benjamin Cusserow, the Fab Lab education facilitator. Our second scholar is Jaden Bailey, who's an 8th grader at St. Edmund's Academy. Congratulations, Jaden. Our third scholar is Lamar Flowers, a 6th grader at Linton Middle School. Congratulations, sir. Our next scholar is Cameron Jackson, who's a 6th grader at Pittsburgh Obama Academy. Our next scholar is Jemai Johnson, who's an 8th grader at Schiller School. Congratulations, sir. Our next scholar is Julian Lavender from Penn Hills Charter, 6th grade. Congratulations. The next scholar is Carmelo Aubringer from St. Bede. Congratulations. A couple of our scholars were unable to come today that completed the program. I just want to say their names. That's Jameson Overton, who is a 6th grader at Ross Elementary on the North Hills. And also Brandon Terry is a 7th grader at Kappa. Our next scholar that's here is Torian Perkins, a 6th grader at Sunnyside. Entrepreneur. Thank you. Congratulations, sir. Our next scholar is Devon Sterling of the Sterrett Classical Academy, 7th grade. Congratulations, sir. Congratulations. Our next scholar is Jaden Weems of the Woodland Hills Academy, 8th grader. Congratulations. Congratulations. Next scholar is Cornell Weems of the Neighborhood Academy, 7th grade. Congratulations. Our next scholar is Cordelia Weems of the Neighborhood Academy, 6th grade. Congratulations, sir. Congratulations. And our final scholar is Jason William Anderson of the Woodland Hills Academy, 8th grade. Congratulations. And we know that it's very difficult. A lot of the young men play sports and other activities, but parents, again, we want to thank you for doing all that you could to get these young scholars here on Saturdays. We know that it's a busy schedule. Some of them were running out, going to games, but we are very appreciative of all of you.